In this episode, my friend Barry Dyke sits down with me again. We have a lovely conversation with a broad range of topics. One of the topics is his fourth book, set to be released in 2023, later this year. Its title is Pirates of Manhattan 3, Merchants of Debt. We also discuss the current capital control tactics of brokerage houses and custodians. And then we wind up talking about what Wall Street does with their money and what they do with your money. Now, we had fun and hope you enjoy listening. Thank you.
Well, just look at it. You're in Texas, James. AT&T's headquartered in Texas, okay?
Yep.
Which probably was one of the most indebted companies. This is a house of debt, AT&T, okay? They made a bunch of stupid blunders. They bought, it was a Time Warner and DirecTV, and I don't know, lost 30, 40, 50 billion. Is it 60 billion? It's something ridiculous. I've got all the statistics down. But the guy who's the CEO of the retired, even with losing all these billions of dollars, he has an annuity for like $3-4 million a year for life.
Oh, what? Okay. An income of $3 or $4 million for, oh my gosh.
Annuity for life.
Yeah.
It's annuity. So, all these federal pensions, what are they? Annuities. What these government pension plans, they're on annuities.
Yeah.
So what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to put seatbelts and guardrails around people's savings. I'm not against the market, whatever, but the amount of brainwashing is very clear to me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe I don't see it. Maybe a lot of people don't see it, but I just when I thought of the Stockholm syndrome, I said this is how typical people and 401ks and and one guy just recently talked about like 1.7 million and with Fisher or whatever, and it's people are they're being misled.
Yeah, and they make a career, that particular entity and individual.
And he hates annuities.
Yeah, he's made a career off of it. That's all he advertises. You hate your annuity or why annuities are bad or whatever. And at one time, and I don't know still, and I could care less about his personal position or his financial position because I have zero respect for him. But at one time, I understood that he had pretty large positions in life insurance companies that their main product was annuities.
Yeah, I was the one who dug that up, actually.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, Fisher was a major owner of American Equity out of Des Moines. Okay.
Yeah.
Custom was a major owner of a life insurance company. So here's a company saying that we hate annuities. They were a major stockholder of one of the largest annuity companies in the country.
Yeah, I have a client down in Houston, and I have a lot of clients all over the country. I'm just saying that beautiful gentleman, he recently retired. He works for a large energy distribution company. I'm not going to name them. And they maybe 13,000 employees or so. Yeah. And I think they released about 1,000 employees. I think my numbers are I'm going off of memory, but I think they're accurate. But 3,000 employees took early retirement to avoid a pension reduction. Okay, now, how do you take this is a large regional energy distribution company, household name down there.
Yeah.
How do you take, out of 13,000, how do you lose 3,000 or 4,000 employees that all have 10, 20, 30 years of experience and still deliver service at a reasonable standard? I don't know, and maybe they'll get it done, but so, and my whole point here is that the cost of saving themselves money, the corporation, right? They're releasing all of these people, and then they can't withhold. Apparently, 3,000 employees are leaving early to avoid their pension reduction. So it's a money-saving tactic from the company's position. Who's going to pay for all that, and who's going to suffer? Not them in the boardroom.
No, they never do. They never do. No, and that's why I had to get into so much of this stuff. And this is the thing which I've seen. I mean, you and I have been like doing this for 38 years, and you've been doing it for 38 years, James. Remember when
I'm not that old, Barry. I've only been doing it 31. I'm still a baby.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So I'm the white-haired guy. But in any event, so but no, I've seen really some sense of really some safety. Now it's what I found, and this is with all these cryptocurrency companies going bankrupt, and there's a ton of them, which I'll have, and what I've found in companies like Coinbase and all these things which have gone public is that the people holding the shares of these companies have gotten crushed. But some of the insiders have pulled out 10, 20 million.
Yeah.
Signature Bank, the one that just went into receivership in New York. Okay. Barney Frank was on that one. Okay.
No way.
Yeah, Barney Frank. Yeah, Mr.
The Dodd-Frankenstein Act.
Yeah, Dodd-Frank bill. Yeah, he was supposed to be Mr. Regulator. Yeah, the Signature Bank, who he was on the board of, the insiders pull out. And the Journal just did a good piece on it, but the insiders pull out like $100 million in stock compensation prior to the collapse. Yeah. Same thing with
Silvergate,
Silicon Valley Bank.
Oh, yeah.
And then who's the other one? Silvergate, who is California, but it's always the West Coast craziness. Okay. The Silvergate, the same thing. So all these banks, and then these SPAC companies, which we'll get into at some point, but they're all these people have been pulling up tens of millions of dollars in stock compensation. And the retail investor who owns these companies through their 401ks, they have no protection.
None. Right. Well, let's talk about the SPAC, because before we turned the mic on, we were just talking about your book and the work that you're putting into the book. But I think WeWork came up and then SPAC, and so enlighten us, sir.
Well, SPAC is okay. That's SPAC is an acronym for Special Purpose Acquisition Company, and actually it's the same old wine, a new bottle. I don't know, something in the Bible, something like that. New wine, old wine. Yeah, old. Yeah. So anyway, it's the same old stuff. It's just been new package. But anyway, so SPACs, which is Special Purpose Acquisition, they were called blind pools of capital investing in the 1920s prior to the collapse of 1929. This is when Wall Street says, hey, you're a really good guy. You're a knowledgeable guy, James. I'm going to give you $1 billion. I'm going to raise you $1 billion. So you're going to buy a company. And the person who used these, to my knowledge, was Michael Milken in the 1980s and 90s. And we all know what happened to Milken when Drexel Burnham Lambert, they went into bankruptcy, and it was one of the largest financial crises ever. He called, I don't know, he would raise a whole bunch of, $100 million in junk bonds from people to buy companies. So a SPAC, essentially, you can go public without really the other traditional regulatory work if you would with a normal initial public offering. So with free money flying all around the whole thing, it turned into another mania. During COVID and all the government printing of money, particularly from this last administration. And so what we're seeing is that it's just speculation of just biblical proportions. It went from, and I have the statistics. If you just bear with me, I think the SPACs went in. If you don't, just bear with me, James. Your audience will bear with me. I'll give them, because I've got this stuff from SPAC research. Let's see.
This is like an inside look at the notes of your book.
Yeah, so I'm working on this. So luckily, so let's see.
Are you going through your manuscript or your notes?
Yeah. No. So any event. So the let's see. Hang on. So let's see. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So these things there's no guarantees. They're very risky. But WeWork. Okay. So this is WeWork. So all these companies which have gone public, whether it be, and it's been another bubble. The autonomous car bubble, which 100 billion went into, with self-driving cars. I mean, they can't even get cars to go left-hand. So, but there was another 100. They put 100 billion into these things, and then we have which another thing, and the fake meats and other types of things. Which so they've all been. It was just a mania. I went from like 4 or 5 companies to like 200 or 300 and 20 and 21. I think it's 600 of them, but now it's kind of died off again. But all these companies, because they're so fragile and so speculative. So a lot of these companies, some of these companies, American Cloud Technologies, they went bankrupt in January this year. Electric Last Mile, another EV company, these electric vehicle company, they went bankrupt. Rocky Photonics went bankrupt. Enjoy Technologies, that was the guy run by Ron Johnson, the guy with the old Apple employee. That went bankrupt this year. Core Scientific went bankrupt. Fast Radius went bankrupt. Let's see what else went. Quantity Systems EV space went bankrupt in December. Packable, which was done by Fidelity and the Carlyle Group, they went bankrupt in last August. Starry Group. And within the past week, James, 3 have gone bankrupt. These SPAC companies, Virgin Orbit, Boxed, and Calera PLC. So, and Virgin Orbit was Richard Branson, the guy, Virgin entrepreneur. So it's just another scam by Wall Street. It's being end up being dumped on mutual fund retail investors with, generally most of 50% of the money is going to passive funds like Vanguard, State Street, or BlackRock, and I'm not making anything up. So because they own 50% of the market anyhow, so they're not taking any accountability, and they're going bankrupt, and people are getting wiped out. Yeah. But WeWork it is the classic case of this hubris and anyway. So that was the guy. They were the biggest real estate holders in New York and London, and it was started with this Israeli guy named Adam Newman. He was a pretty good entrepreneur, but they got everyone to involve in that, and so the thing is with let me just so I can share this with your audience. Okay, so this is kind of like Exhibit A, how not to do it. Okay, so we started around 2010 or whatever, and it was started in 2010, and to see who would invest in this company. All these serious money men: J.P. Morgan Chase, Wellington, Boston Company, T. Rowe Price, Goldman Sachs, Harvard Corporation, the Harvard Endowment, Benchmark, the big venture capital, Mortimer, Zuckerberg, the billionaire. All these people, this is all Magic Public Record invested into this thing. And SoftBank, which was ended up being the biggest investor, they put $16.9 billion into this company. All right, 16.9 billion in equity and debt. Okay. I call this has been a consensual delusion. Okay.
Yep.
I know it's like right. So they put all this money into this company. Right. Now this is a big deal. I mean, this was a real big deal. And SoftBank put 16.9 billion into the company. And I get this from PitchBook, so I'm not making this up. So, and they also got money from Pony Capital, another company. But what happened to top it off, if you will, they also put retail investor savings into this. Okay, so Fidelity, Vanguard, John Hancock, T. Rowe Price. So retail monies from retail investors, mutual funds, all went into this WeWork. This is all fact. Okay, I get it. Again, I get this from PitchBook. This is not me. Okay. So and Jamie Dimon essentially documented. He really wanted to get the IPO business, so he lent Adam Newman $500 million to buy properties, and they bought a Gulfstream jet. But in any event, so it was valued at that time to be $47 billion. Wow. All right. And one Morgan Stanley analyst said it was worth $110 billion. And the guy, Mashushi Son, whatever it is, said, it's my next Alibaba. It's going to be worth $110 billion. All right. So the thing is that, so this is what happened. So before going public, okay, because it ends up being lawsuits and all this stuff. And Adam Newman, he was the guy who used to fly around the world and he was smoking pot in his Gulfstream, and they had to pay him off $480 million before he went public. And this is fact. I'm not making this up. It's all in the securities documents, okay? And they gave WeWork, which was once valued at $47 billion. Now it's valued at $7.9 billion. They go public in 2019 October 21 into SPAC, very speculative vehicle, and selling the shares to the public at $11.78 a share. And this is $43 less than it was valued at a share a couple years prior.
Is that the IPO price? $11
that's they had their privately held shares were worth $54 a share, but they had a value of $11.78 a share when they went public. This is all facts.
Look, if you'll value the stock on my books at 43, and then we'll sell them to the public at 11, I can go leverage my balance sheet if the value's 43. I wonder, nothing squirrely going on here, Barry.
Okay, so
I don't mean to interrupt.
So anyway, so I looked at it. So I haven't even touched this in a while. So I checked this when last time I touched this in February, but I touched this before you and I got on the phone today.
Okay.
You know what the shares that WeWork are trading at today, James?
No, I can't wait.
65 cents.
No way.
And the company's value is less than $520 million.
520 million from 110
520 million, yeah. So that's the market cap. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah.
Ooh.
So the market cap of NYSE, folks, by the way, NYSWE is the ticker. It has a market capitalization of $521 million today. And let's see, but if you're in the inside, and you can go to Yahoo Finance, it's really, but they bury this stuff, so let's look at my notes better than this, okay? So if you go on the new one, the CEO is making $11 million, $2 million last year, but I looked at the Sandy Blackie mean, whatever, the CEO of the company made $12.25 million in 21, and Anthony Yazbek made $5.25 million, and Jared DeMatteis, the chief legal officer, pocketed $2.6 million. So now it's gone down this year, but I'm saying, so even when running a company, which is really kind of, it's busted, they've made money, and the major shareholders are, the retail investor, and so the holders today are, the SoftBank, Fidelity, Vanguard, Goldman, BlackRock, what have you, so which get all their money from retail investors. So my whole point is that this is why preservation of capital is more important forever. This type of crap that went on. Yep. And this is clear as day. And it was just kind of exhibit A because there was so much money, there was so much hype and hoopla put into this company. That's why folks on WeWork.
WeWork, the poster child of Wall Street, huh?
Yeah. And the funny thing is that when last time I was in New York City with my kids, and we went down there, and my son was living in Queens at the time, and I said, I want to go to the WeWork headquarters and stuff like that. So we did. So I took pictures of the WeWork, and because I was following at the time, and but this is what's happening, and this is so what you're saying, James, about doing the infinite banking and things like annuities and things like that, it makes so much sense when you look at this kind of stuff.
Yep. No, I agree. It's in my opinion, it's the solution at the you and me level.
It's and again, it's just there's nothing guaranteed in life, but I mean. But we, as I tell people, a toaster from Walmart has more guarantees than a mutual fund.
A toaster from Walmart
has more guarantees than a mutual fund.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I think I've heard you say that before too. A toaster from Walmart
has more guarantees than a mutual fund.
That's crazy.
Or ETF for that matter, which is kind of the same thing. So. So that's some of the stuff which I'm trying to boil it down, simplify, and get out to the general public.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting. So
it's hard though. It's one of those things where we're all going to graduate one of these days. We're all going to go on to hopefully go on a nicer place than this. But
well, some of us are.
I hope so. In any event, so hopefully he says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." But in any event, but I said, what's good if I just keep this knowledge up here? You get to really share with people, and right. So then, but this is what's going on right today. So some people who are smart, they get it. And unfortunately, I would say the vast majority of people are in the dark.
Yeah. Barry, do you get pushback on your books, from financial professionals, or just, maybe somebody's got large holdings in the stock market and they're in love with the stock market, and do you get pushback from your
all the time,
your documentation? Yeah.
All the time. I give people these facts and they don't believe me.
Right, but they won't go vet them. They won't go check.
No. It's like I had an engineer one time, very sophisticated engineer. He actually designed like turbine blades for large jumbo jets and things like that. Very, very smart guy. And he had all of his money with one of the larger Wall Street banks. Okay. And I showed him where this large Wall Street bank put their own money. And I showed this gentleman how this very famed Wall Street bank, which was bailed out by you and I, the taxpayer, in 2008, had none of its money, not one penny in equities in the stock market. And the engineer says, he said, why didn't anyone tell me? And how, he's crazy. People get really angry and they frustrated. And I can't blame them, because, it's, this is very common.
Was he
motivated? You found the same thing, James? What?
Was he motivated?
No, he got pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think he ended up buying a bunch of annuities from his old other advisor at this well-known investment bank, who bankrupted a number of large companies.
Yeah. No, I don't really get. I mean, I get pushback from agents, other like life insurance agents or advisors, but not a whole lot. And the pushback that I get is, I'm too angry, or I'm mean spirited or whatever. And which is, ludicrous. If you know me, I'm a big old soft teddy bear. I've got nothing but love. So, I always.
I know you, James. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's about them, not me. But I get a lot of encouragement, like you. I know you get a lot of encouragement for your work too, because no one else is doing this work. Who else is doing the work that you're doing? I don't know them. They're not. So. You get a lot of love and support.
I don't know. It's just, I'm ADD, or whatever, what do you call it? Obsessive compulsive, whatever this stuff. But no, it's just a passion.
Or you could just say productive too, right? You're productive, driven, passionate. Yeah. So.
Yeah, passionate. Yeah, because I don't like people getting hurt. I mean, it's just, look at, the more I know, the more I don't know. Everyone has their own gifts, whatever, but I know this stuff. I know this space. And the thing is that this is the truth. And actually people say, well, you don't believe me. I said, well, check the Secure Act 2.0. Now, all it says you should use annuities for retirement. This is the government, not me. Okay. And I researched actually outside of the country, James, and companies like the Netherlands is one of the best retirement systems in the world. How they actually mandate people use annuities for their defined contribution, which are very similar to our 401ks. They call them different names, but the same freaking thing.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that also I'm passionate about, because where America stands in the World League tables in terms of retirement preparedness, if you will.
I couldn't imagine very high.
In the top 20, where do you think the U.S. stands?
8 or 9.
Probably like 19. We're
really?
pikers, man. Yeah. I think we're next to like Guatemala or something like that. I mean, we're
next to Guatemala. Yeah. Guatemala's 20 and we're 19.
Matter of fact,
that's shameful.
That's shameful. It is. This is not me. Hang on, let me see if I got this. This will be coming out in the book in any event. So, Mercer. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is Mercer Global Appendix. Mercer Global Pension Index. All right. And hang on. Okay, so this is 21 now. I haven't got the 22 figures, but this is pretty. The top countries in the world, believe it or not, are Iceland and the Netherlands. They're always like the Scandinavian. Iceland, the Netherlands, Denmark, Israel. Israel is actually very strong. Norway, Australia, Finland, Sweden, the UK, and Singapore. Those are the top 10. All right. Where the U.S. is, again, this is not me. This is Mercer, an actual from Australia. Yeah. Okay. No, not. I said Guatemala. No, we're next to Uruguay. So, so we.
Thank goodness. I was worried if Guatemala, so it's Uruguay. I'm relieved. It's like, oh my gosh.
So the whole thing is, in terms of, if you're an executive, that's another thing. But I'm saying for regular people, we're 19th in the world. For regular people, we're 19th world league tables.
Are those other the Scandinavian countries? I mean, are all of those government funded? I mean, why are they so far ahead?
Partner. I mean, some of them, they're smaller entities, so I think they can be better managed than the U.S. We're too sprawling. Yeah. They don't have the Wall Street we do, which Wall Street kind of much drives the car on all this stuff. So UK and the Netherlands, they have financial services, but not like the size of ours. But these other countries too, they actually make things. And we make our money selling credit default swaps and stuff like that, some other companies actually make stuff, but I think, they're small, they're better managed. And, so anyway, so this, I'm trying to into that. I mean, when I saw that, I said, and again, it's not me, it's Mercer, which is, a world renowned actuarial firm. And then the thing is that, but this frightening thing is in terms of integrity, of the systems, we're in the worst of all the companies. We're even worse than Uruguay in terms of integrity. The U.S. is the worst in the top 20.
Yeah,
so Chile, New Zealand, Guinea, Canada. So in other words, the numbers which Norway, all these other Scandinavian countries are on the 80s, 90s. We're around 59, so we get a D. Or an F for integrity. So I'm just trying to bring some integrity. The more I know, the more I don't know. But so this will be coming in the book. It'll be a long book, but it'll be broken into two components. So one is just the meat of the book, and then the index, which would be probably about index and supporting documentation, which would probably be about half of the book. Wow.
Good job, sir. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm glad you're doing it
well, thank you. It's a blessing to have guys like you and Doug and all the other people, so I couldn't do it without it. I mean, because of my fans, I, to all the viewers out there, I mean, I get emails, James, to this day, and God bless me, I was able to spend a couple months in Florida working on the book and, working remotely. And I show them to my fiance. I said, look at, I get these encouraging emails, just keep doing what you're doing. And, from people who I don't even know, and they're saying, keep doing what you're doing. And but one, I think really would made a difference in my life, which really, I used to do a lot of radio shows, not so much anymore, but I did a radio show. And one time I got maybe about 10 years ago, James, I got an email from a guy, wrote my first book, said, I did exactly what I heard you on the radio. I did exactly what you told me to do. And he did it. And he bought substantial life insurance, and he bought disability, which I recommend on this radio show. And he actually got in a car accident. He was disabled for life.
Wow.
And he emailed me. He said, thank you so much. I listened to you. And he said, now, because of what you said, my life is, not great, but at least I'll have income for life and, insurance for my benefactors, and his beneficiaries. So I get those things. So, which really, it's really hard to keep without some type of harvest. So you get some type of emotional harvest from guys like you and Doug and the folks we know from IBC and, a lot of the people. So, so it's really, I couldn't do it otherwise. It's too difficult to do it because there's so much pushback.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, it is. I'm not an author, but those types of emails are wonderful. They do something for you that money sure can't buy that kind of stuff. And
no, it's just like this widow just died, 1.4 million. Safe, protected, no probate, no losses. Okay,
a check. Yeah, a check.
And a check. Okay, no legal fees, no lawyer fees, no accounting fees. You don't see that. So so that's what but I have great people working here. I couldn't do this on my own. I couldn't do it without, the ladies who work for me, Lisa and Tracy and Dave and Brian, all these other folks, and my fiance, all the support. So I'm very, very in support from you. So I can't do this on my own either. So, but anyway, so that's what I do.
Perfect. Well, thanks for, number one, thanks for what you have done, and thanks for what you're doing. Keep going, keep doing it. Nobody else is going to do it. And so if you don't, who will? So thank you. And then
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on here and sharing. You're always very gracious when I ask if you can. You always say yes, and so I appreciate that. All right, and I know the listeners. People love you, Barry. They love your work. They love you, and so, thank you.
Thank you, man. You owe me a barbecue in Texas.
Okay, no problem. I've got a list, and we'll hit several of them. Okay.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will do that. So, but I'll see you soon. So, I hope we. So that's what I've been up to, and I hope this helps your listeners and everyone else.
It will, Barry. Thank you very much for coming on, and we'll, like you said, we'll see each other soon. Okay.
So yeah. So let me know, Justin. I was just on the radio in New York City this past weekend, but if you give me a link to this so I can share this with my other my friends and my email list, that'd be great, so we can get this out to everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. When he gets it produced, he'll share a link. No question. You want to edit it, right? I mean, you want it finished, ready?
Yeah. Please do. Yeah, Justin does it. Yeah, he does a great job.
Yeah. No, he's out.
You do a great job. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, we'll share it with you. All right, Barry. Thank you again, sir. Have a great rest of your day. Okay?
Thank you, sir. God bless.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you for joining us on the Banking with Life podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and click on that little notification bell. Otherwise, join us on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher for weekly content.